What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about some Master Ability 2s that came in this week's update. It's pretty exciting for some units, and then other units it's not as exciting. So I'm going to go through all 4 of the updates that we got. I'm going to tell you if I think they're any good or not, and then kind of, talk about my feelings about these upgrades in general, because there's more coming and there's more, upgrades on the horizon in terms of what we can do with units in JP. Let's go ahead and save the best for last, which means we'll start with Lucia. Whoa, that was pretty hot, but I'm not a huge fan of her upgrades. I think there were some okay stuff, but overall, it's just kind of brought her into the range that everybody else is coming into in terms of getting your wind buff and your HP buff for the wind units, getting a little bit more attack, and then getting some AoE resistance, and really not a very generous amount of it either. So she hasn't really become like any more durable to anything. She's still just a pretty flimsy gunner that does have reflex, of course, and does have some ranged attacks. She's going to benefit from the job upgrades that we see, but otherwise, I don't think that there's anything too special here. We do see, though, however, that her limit burst got upgraded. So let's go take a really quick look at that. And by the way, just going to take a look here. Okay, so we have defense penetration 40%. This skill got acquired AP up, and we even got some more range. Like, that was really important for her. Okay, her firing stance ended up getting some range as well. So again, super important. She can get up to some pretty high amounts of defense penetration, and she even got slow as a effect, which is one of the best effects in the game, but no missile resist penetration. So when we go and we take a look at her limit burst, guess what? She now has 30% missile attack resist penetration. So this is something that she did absolutely need. And what's important here too is the range height too. Like, I already had that, but this is something that is reasonable for her to use on an opponent and get this missile attack resist penetration up early, especially if you don't use Ranger Sub. Now, I don't think you're not going to be using Ranger Sub, but hopefully you can get this online ASAP. And now, of course, we also have the new diamond coat that you can put on her and some trust stones and stuff, so we can get some more missile attack resist penetration. But looking at the other effect for this is that the disable and immobilize are both increased chance now. So it's a 55% base chance. Basically, it means that you're going to have an over 50% chance a lot of the time if you put her at 97 faith, and if you have her lower and you're attacking a physical unit with lower faith, it's not going to help you that much. So what's really important here is that if you use this, that you do actually want to have her at maximum faith, because you don't really care how much damage she takes from magic damage. It's all going to be damage that kills her, so she might as well be at that maximum chance to inflict these status effects, but also, again, to inflict slow. So I don't think this is like a groundbreaking upgrade. I think she's still going to be a really fun unit to use, and then if you really liked to use her, then that's going to be fine. But otherwise, nothing crazy to write home about. I'm not thrilled about this upgrade. Okay, next up is Ellshra, who is a very good MR unit. Was a really interesting unit when she came out because she had a bunch of utility, but also UR levels of magic, and that's not going to stop here because we have a 40% magic buff up from 20%, and we also have a decrease of being targeted, which is really important for PvP, auto PvP specifically. We also have a decreased cast time. Always love to see that. Very important, especially for manual play, but also important for auto PvP as well. So this is a unit that I think will now see more use in limited guild battle, even though she has that cost 60. And I know that there's the units that you can get, a little bit more cost savings with and then run double 100s. This is still going to be worth your time to explore. And a big part of that is that she has so many things that she can offer in terms of actually being able to quicken and to haste if you have her on the time mage sub, but then also if you run her so like she doesn't have too many buffs, her damage is actually pretty decent, and this meteor is actually a pretty cool thing. This annulling axis is pretty strong, and she even has healing capabilities if you really want to mess around with that as well. But when we take a look at her builder stats and we go and check it out, 653 magic. So she really is going to be packing quite a punch, even if she doesn't have a ton of penetrations. If she's just hitting some targets that don't have good magic resistance, really solid value for an MR. Lots of manual players will be happy to see all of these upgrades. Next up is Jayden, who's one of my favorite characters to play with. So I'm very excited about this myself because quite a few things got upgraded here, including more magic, which he did need. He did need more magic. 40% reaction block rate. Really love to see that. Just get out of town reflex. I wanted to say a much stronger word, maybe a swear word. I didn't say it though, so that's fine. Okay, and then the other part of this is the missile attack resist penetration 40% remove after 2 hits received. This was absolutely key for him, and I was talking about how Elia and Eliza had this kind of advantage over him, and it showed how much units had been kind of beefed up and cooked up since Jayden came out, and he was kind of lacking in that department. This brings him up into that new range of having a ton of missile attack penetration, especially if he's able to use drill shot. Then he's at 70% plus whatever else he has going on. So this is a really big deal, especially with some heavy missile resistance units that are kind of around right now. So I really like this upgrade. I think it's nothing special in terms of, like, it doesn't look like all sparkly and cool. But what it does is it takes this unit that had a really cool kit, a very high range, good buffs to use, and high power at the time when he came out, and now brings him into the range where maybe he can do some of that stuff again and kind of, show us why he was so impactful for a long time when he first came out. Like I said, I'm saving the best for last, and I hope that doesn't surprise you because I think Oberon got the best upgrades, and let me tell you why. So the big thing that we can see here is that he got decreased AP consumption 30%, and I think that's something we're seeing on a lot of new units. Now, Oberon has a lot of very good buffs, and I'd rather not use any bells with him. So this is going to go a long way to me using some sort of AP TP build with him, and I'm really happy about that. He also got 10% more HP, which I love to see for his survivability, which he does have a bit of in terms of just surviving maybe a few hits because of his shield that he can cast the Purple Dragon's Aegis. Now, he also got an upgrade from the Purple Dragon's Providence buff. Now, this was a critical evasion and AoE resistance buff that now has 40% defense penetration on it. That is a big amount of defense penetration. This was a buff that I always felt compelled to use because AoE resistance is so important, but it's very difficult to use this buff and also use bells and also use his barrier. So now we kind of have this complete package of the fact that you can let him use his on-kit skills and then maybe even finish off with his Banner of the Dragon down here, or maybe something else if you're going double resist, and then he's still going to be in a really good spot to build some AP and to not spend too much. Plus, he already has 40% defense penetration here. So now what we're looking at is 80% defense penetration plus 10% from your trust stones. You're at 90%, or maybe you're using something else to go higher, and you're able to get to a point where you can just fully penetrate defense. You're using pierce attacks, which a lot of units are weak to or not building against, and it puts him into a really good spot. The biggest demerit that he has is that he's in an element that doesn't have a ton of support right now, but still not a bad element. I'm getting a lot of stars right now in guild battle with a lightning team, and I'm setting lightning on defense sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what my defense is right now. You're going to just spy on me tomorrow's guild battle, but it is a really powerful element, and Earth can also take on other elements as well. So I think that being scared of wind is not a reason not to use Oberon. I think that he even has possibly some rainbow potential just because of his LB, and the more, like, just because this all elemental resistance and peril, but also because when we see these VCs come out that are like job based, that we might get some more opportunities for him to shine. And I think that he is a very powerful character. He's always been a very powerful character, and he's just a lot of fun to use. So I love to see that he got these buffs. I'm very excited about it. I think these are the best buffs out of all of the ones in the patch today, and I'm very excited myself to be using Oberon again in some format. Probably arena to start with, maybe mix him into some guild battle at some point as well, especially if we see enough lightning defense, although that's not a huge thing I'm seeing right now. Right now it's a lot of dark defense, to be honest with you, but he can take out some dark units as well. If you know, there's a few that are weak to Pierce, namely Leela and Joker. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Next week, I'm going to be back with a Should You Poll because we have the new Earth Strike unit coming out most likely. And then after that, we're going to be getting another job-based VC. So we're going to be able to continue to diversify our teams a little bit as we get more support with these different VCs, which are honestly pretty stacked, a lot of them. It's something that we really have to consider strongly. Now, I want to hear from each of you because there were 4 units that got Master Ability 2s today. And I know that while Oberon was my favorite, it might not have been your favorite. So let me know, which one are you excited to be using in guild battle, in PvE, in arena, whatever it is. Maybe it's the raid. I don't know. Let me know though in the comments. We'll chat about it. And then otherwise, I'll be back soon enough with some more War of the Visions content.